Hey everyone, and welcome back to part 3 of MoonKnight Fist of Konshu Volume 1. And when we left off last time, our heroes were hiding underground and wanted, with their faces plastered all over the news, accused for selling the glitter that Fairchild is selling, which has now been called relabeled Moondust. So we start off issue 4 here with Frasier, and she's gone to visit Dr. Sturman, who we haven't seen yet, other than in the prologue. And so Frasier wants her to tell her about MoonKnight, but Sturman says, please. She says, I've been shot at by the scourge of the underworld, Detective Frasier, which I tell you only to establish a baseline. If you think your police posturing is going to cause me to break doctor-patient confidentiality, you're going to have to become significantly more frightening. And Frasier says, I can do that. But Sturman isn't backing down. She says, that's unlikely. Not unless you cross a line that you haven't yet. I'm not MoonKnight. My name is not so easy to drag in the mud, not with my connections. You're a cop? I was a federal agent. I rode with 5th Battalion. You know the commissioner? I know senators and congresspeople. I was kidnapped by Zodiac. I was held hostage by Jigsaw. Detective Frasier, I regret to inform you that you're simply out of your league. And so Frasier leaves defeated. And she calls Fairchild and says, this thing is getting out of hand and I'm not going to be able to get her to testify that MoonKnight's crazy. And Fairchild's like, well, why not? You don't think we can get a little psychiatrist to do what we want? But Frasier says, this got too hot for me when I had MoonKnight's blade in my face. He knows about you and me and the glitter. And Fairchild is still trying to press her, but I think she's kind of done. And meanwhile, MoonKnight is depressed and just sitting there listening to the television that continues to spread all these lies about them. And there's a reporter outside of the old midnight mission, and MoonKnight just gets fed up and throws one of his batarang thingies at the TV and breaks it. And then he starts talking to himself. And Jake says, oh, that's really smart. Yeah, killed the TV. We'll have nothing to do now. So MoonKnight's just kind of going through it. And Jake is telling him, I mean, what are we doing here? You have a posse of your own. Why aren't you out there taking down gangsters? Why are we just sitting here and sobbing? But MoonKnight, he feels like he's responsible for everything that has happened to his team. He says he doesn't want to get anyone else hurt. He doesn't want to get anyone else in trouble. He's taken the death of the Midnight Mission quite to heart. And he says he's afraid. And then his other personality, which I believe this one is, what is it? It's Jake Lockley, Mark Spector, and damn it, I forgot this guy's name. Anyways, he says, you're afraid of a gangster? We fought vampires, we fought supervillains, not even to mention all the Kalashnikovs we've had pointed at our heads over the years. And you're scared of a man in a loud suit? Stephen Grant. There we go. That's his name. the name of this personality. And he says, if someone wants to take a swing at me, I'll take it, Stephen. I'll take it and give them interest in return, but he's just not swinging at me. He says, I've let people in, and that means I've put them in danger. Hunter's Moon, the soldier, they were both killed by people who were coming after him. And he's referencing a previous storyline, because both of them had been killed and resurrected. But while he's talking to his personalities, he senses something's off. Someone's there. And it's these vermin creatures. And they found MoonKnight's hideout. And they tell him, MoonKnight, you drove us out of your neighborhood, but this is our territory. And now you're the one who's not welcome. And Jake says, run. And Stephen says, run. But Mark says, no. I'm done running. And he leaps at them. And his personalities are still telling him to get the hell out of there, but he's had enough. Mark is freaking out, and he's just going after all of them. And Jake insists, get out of here, Mark. Come back and kick tail if you gotta, but bring Hunter's Moon, Tigra, the vampire kids, even April. And MoonKnight says, no. No one else is getting hurt in my wars. No one else is taking the hits meant for me. No one else dies. No one except the ones coming for me. And he blows all the vermin up. But they keep coming and coming and coming. Until they've almost completely buried him. Just buried under bodies of vermin, with his hand just cinematically reaching out. But he says, nothing can kill me. And he bursts through all of the vermin. And the slaughter continues. He says, I was a fool to think I could have people, that I could keep them safe. No. Now I know all I need is the wild dog. So he's kind of losing it. And meanwhile, Frasier goes back home to her apartment, opens the fridge, sits down on the couch to have a beer. And MoonKnight's there. And she asks him, are you going to kill me? And he says, I haven't decided yet, Frasier, but I'd really like to. And she says, I'm a cop. You think that means anything to me? Why not add cop killer to everything else you've put on my name? And MoonKnight asks her, was it the glitter, Frasier, or were you always dirty? And she says, screw you, MoonKnight. You don't know me. I'm doing what I have to do as long as Fairchild's got the glitter. I don't have any choices here. And MoonKnight says, you try. No, she says, sorry. She continues to say, you try to kick glitter, you die. No medication, no therapy. Best case scenario is a coma. So if you've come to kill me, get on with it and quit wasting my time, because if Fairchild won't give me a fix, I'm dead anyway. And MoonKnight says, call him. So she does. And Fairchild's in his limo. And he says, Detective Frasier, tell me something I want to hear. But it's MoonKnight on the phone. Hello, Fairchild. Well, this is a treat. MoonKnight, how you doing, boy? Been better. Do me a favor, tell your bodyguard that I'm going to kill her for what she did to the mission. Well, listen to you, all saddle leather and gun smoke. Don't sound like you've missed a step. Did you kill my cop? Not yet, but it got me thinking. All this dancing around, taking pokes at each other, it's for the weak. You told me the night we met that you were a fighter, a boxer, someone who fights face to face, eye to eye. I did. And that I ought to get you in the ring sometime, see who the bigger man was. Well, how about it? Let's settle this in the ring, you and me. You want my territory? I'll fight you for it. And that's the end of issue 4. And now, our final issue. Issue 5. Final issue for volume 1. And MoonKnight's getting ready for the fight of his life. And he says, you've brought me back from the dead a few times now, but it's never a fresh start, is it? I always come back with reminders, artifacts, like the symbol the Sun King's guys carved in my back. The punctuation from the Black Spectre, a kiss from stained glass scarlet. I come back from the dead, but my scars are always with me. Why is that? And Konshu answers him and says, because every scar is a lesson. Taken together, they are your education. An education I will not allow you the luxury of forgetting. Then watch closely, Father. And MoonKnight steps out into the ring, and it's this big, grandiose event, and I don't know how real this is or how much it's in MoonKnight's mind or what's going on, but let me show you what I've learned, he says, and makes his entrance. Meanwhile, Soldier and Hunter's Moon, dressed as civilians, are going around Midnight Mission territory, knocking on doors, trying to help people. And because Hunter's Moon is a doctor, but the neighborhood, not everyone accepts them, and they get kicked out of this house. And Hunter's Moon says, well, we'll come back when the father goes to work or something, because they're trying to help a sick kid. And the mother doesn't seem to have a problem with it. And Soldier is, he's not happy about this. He doesn't like the fact that the neighborhood is treating them the way they are after everything that they've done. But Hunter's Moon kind of gets fed up and corners him and says, listen, this is the job. And the work needs to always get done. Right now, people have lost their faith in us, and it's going to take some time to rebuild that. But that doesn't mean we abandon them. So, MoonKnight and Fairchild ready to square off here in the ring. And MoonKnight says, quite the setup. Fairchild says, what can I say, Mr. Knight? I like to put on a show. No ref. You want one? Do I look like I want one? You are a one, Mr. Knight. We throw down at the bell. How does that suit you? And MoonKnight just leaps at him and says, ding. Meanwhile, Tigra, Brees, and 8-Ball are fighting off some monsters or in the city or something like that. And it turns out that this is a group of monsters that show up every once in a while trying to poke and claim the territory, and they have to occasionally just fight them off. But Tigra's kind of annoyed by all this, with everything that's going on. She says the mission is dead, and we're playing with undead idiots out in the streets, just waiting for the cops. But Reese, she says, we're doing our job. The Electric Horsemen, that's what they're called, I guess, these undead weirdos. The Electric Horsemen come through every year. If we don't run them off, they trash the place, scare people. But let's not pretend that's what you're mad about. And Tigra says, I'm getting tired of you thinking you know everything. And Reese kind of snaps and she says, everything? And grabs Tigra by the shoulder. She says, this is what I know. I know the mission is dead, and that you're mad at Mark, and that he's mad at everything. Because you two have been superheroes for years, and that's screwed up the way you process emotions. And I know that we need to show our people that neither Fairchild nor the cops can stop us from protecting them, that it's business as usual, which means you got to get it together. And Mark and Fairchild are still going at it, and it looks like MoonKnight has the upper hand. And in his mind, Jake Lockley's watching the fight at a sports bar. And Stephen Grant is watching it at his office. And they're giving him pointers. Keep going. Don't let him get up. He's bigger than you. You got this. And MoonKnight seems to be just effortlessly destroying him at this point. And he tells Fairchild, I told you I was going to kill you. And he has Fairchild in a headlock, but then Fairchild smiles and says, you're going to strain something. And just headbutts him off him, just shakes him off like a flea. And MoonKnight's like, what? And Fairchild says, don't be mad, Mr. Knight, not about a bit of sandbagging between friends. I wanted to do something nice for you. Let you get the winning feeling for one last time. And besides, I'm the curious sort. I wanted to see just how many horses you really had under the hood. Ding. And in the meantime, the rest of MoonKnight's posse are back underground. And Tigra says, I'm done screwing around like this. I'm going to talk to Mark. It's time we come up with an actual plan. But as they're trying to return to that ex-commed shield base that they were hiding at, they find Frasier, and she's alone there among all the dead vermin that MoonKnight killed. And she says, He said he was going to end it. He told me that he was protecting all of you. So Moon Knight picked her up, left her there, and went to fight Fairchild alone so no one else would get hurt, but now he's the one taking the beating. And he hears Konshu's voice, and Konshu says, "You've missed something, my son. Your rage and pride have blinded you. What do you know about your enemy?" And Mark starts answering, "Hillbilly gangster, some smug hayseed farm boy made good." And he's talking out loud, so Fairchild is like, "Are you trying to hurt my feelings?" And Moon Knight says, "I'm not talking to you." And Konshu responds, "What else? Used to be a fighter, boxer. Ah, look to your body, my son. To the roadmap of violence carved in your flesh." And Moon Knight says, "Scars, your education." He doesn't have any scars. And Moon Knight says, "You have powers." And Fairchild says, "I do not, Mr. Knight. Why, that would be cheating. I am what I told you was, a farm boy, a simple son of the soil. And all my life I was told I wasn't special, that I had to know my place, that the spires of gold and electrum in the shining city were meant for kings, for undying, eternal royalty. But I never did tell you where that farm was, did I? I came so far to make my future here. All the way from shining Asgard." And that's the big reveal, that Fairchild is actually an Asgardian. And he's just beat the shit out of Moon Knight. And that's where we end. That is the end of Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, Volume 1. Now, we might take a bit of a break from Moon Knight. I'm thinking of maybe going into Carnage next, or possibly Blade, Silver Surfer, I don't know, something else. But we will return to Moon Knight either next week or the week after that to sum things up with Volume 2, because Volume 3 of this is actually almost entirely unrelated to this storyline. I don't even know why there's 3 volumes to it. It really wraps up at the end of Volume 2, so we'll be covering that shortly. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.